Hey guys, so just this morning, and you can tell it's the morning because my hair looks like this and I'm wearing my dressing gown, but just this morning, I took my Old Murk-Eye from 3k to 5.1k in about 2 hours, if that. I mean, I was playing it alongside making breakfast for my boys and also getting them dressed, so you can see that it was a pretty quick climb to 5k. The reason Old Murk-Eye is quite good right now is A, he's really good against Dragon Towers. Murloc Tidehunters are incredibly tanky versus Dragon Towers, and he deals a lot of damage and can be a real threat if gotten onto the towers. He's okay in Hero's Resolve. He's not fantastic. And the reason I'm going to say he's not fantastic is because you can't cycle him as quickly as you'd cycle other leaders, because generally with Old Murk-Eye, you want to play him alongside a big bulk of gold. So you will find that in Hero's Resolve, you're not going to cycle through to Old Murk-Eye as quickly as you would do in your other leaders. But he's also very good now that Bounty Hunter's gone. Also pretty good in First Strike. The reason he's good in First Strike is because all of the Murloc Tidehunters get a 2x bonus on first attack, and also without Bounty Hunt there, you're no longer giving free gold to your opponent by playing him. So he's in a really good spot right now, and even more so because you can play the most disgusting deck ever. Obviously, they've changed to Arcane Blast now, so we no longer have Arcane Blast dealing double damage on hit to towers, but they haven't changed Goblin Sappers. So this is the deck that I've been running with. The point is Old Murk-Eye, Marathon of the Murlocs. I think you could play Electric Eels as well, but Marathon of the Murlocs has allowed me to get a couple of extra Murloc Tidehunters out here or there, so it's good. We're running not the Cheat Death combo, so we're running the Goblin Sappers plus Smoke Bomb combo. You maybe could run the Cheat Death combo, but honestly, I don't think it's worth it, and I'm going to show you why in a moment. We run Murloc Tidehunters because they're just cheap, and they add to the Murloc Tidehunters, and they're also a beast, so they fit into the beast slot. We're running Quillbore with Poison. We're running Dark Iron Miner. Now, though you'll probably see some games where I was not running Dark Iron Miner, but I found that without Dark Iron Miner, sometimes you get a bit starved of gold with Old Murk-Eye decks, so I think it's pretty important to run. And when we're running Storm's Reach, Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is there specifically to counter other sappers, okay? So we run Chain Lightning to deal with other people playing sappers. Why are we running Storm's Reach? Well, there was a bit of a tactic with some sappers right now, where you split the sappers down the side lanes. And Storm's Reach can sometimes help you, especially in some of those more tricky maps, catch both sappers, even outside of the Chain Lightning reach. So if you have Storm's Reach, it can be quite useful in that regard. Okay, that is the deck. Obviously, we're running rocket-powered turbo boots on Goblin Sappers. I did see on Reddit that someone ran the extra boom, but they're just so slow without rocket-powered turbo boots. Honestly, it's very difficult to actually get them to the base. If you're playing versus a competent player, it's very difficult to actually get them to the base without rocket-powered turbo boots, so you kind of have to run that. It won't make much of a difference because the whole point of this deck is that we create so many threats on the map in so many different areas that a single Chain Lightning is not going to solve a problem for the enemy. You'd have to run Blizzards, you'd have to run Deep Breaths, and even then, they might not catch everything. So that's what I'm going to show you in some of these games today. We're going to go through the games, we're going to break them down as well individually. This is a really toxic deck. It really fun to play, don't get me wrong. Any Old Murk-Eye deck is really fun to play. This is especially fun because you can blow up bases really quick. But yeah, it depends if you want to like lower yourself to the degeneracy of playing sappers. Whether sappers stay this way, I don't know. I think there is some rumblings that we could see sappers or in something get nerfed. The problem with sappers in this current meta is that you're almost required to run an answer to them. And I think that probably isn't the playstyle that people are wanting in the game. Like, you shouldn't have a meta where you need to run an answer to one certain mini, or you just lose. So I get it. There are multiple answers to sappers, like Polymorph, Chain Lightning, Blizzard, lots of answers. But yeah, to have to auto-include on those in your decks because one mini abuses this particular modifier more so than anything else, probably not healthy. But yeah, enough random chatter. Let's get into the games. I'm going to start off with this game versus Hogger, and I'm going to break it down just to kind of show you. I had a pretty terrible start, in all honesty. Like, I don't want to say, like, not getting, like, and this is one of the weaknesses of this deck, not getting Old Murk-Eye in your opening hand is quite difficult, especially when you've got, like, dead cards, like Dark Iron Miner, kind of a dead card, Smoke Bomb, a dead card. You don't really want to play Quillbore for no reason. So, in this case, I just thought, well, look, let's see what answers he's got. Like, what answers has he got to this? To my sappers. So I just decided to throw them down. I'm going to smoke bomb them past. So I've invested 3 gold to make this work. And he polymorphs them straight away. Now, that because of Golden Fleece is a net 1 gold positive trade to him. Because I spent 3 gold, he spent 3 gold, but he got 1 gold back. So I now know that he's at least got polymorph as an answer, but that might not be the only answer that he's got. So we've kind of got to look around and see what else is going on. So in this case, I now say, okay, I've got enough to kind of just go for it with Old Murk-Eye. We're going to spawn another set of sappers. And here comes the second answer that he's got. I actually managed to somehow stealth at least one of them through here, which went really well. So it means I got my first hit on the base. And so that actually was quite good. Like, Safe Pilot is kind of coming back into the meta because, again, it's another answer. It's a more flexible answer to sappers. I think coming in hot is probably a good option because of the fact that it's just so quick to respond to sappers. So I think Safe Pilot is kind of coming back in. I'm running Chain Lightning in this deck because I don't need Safe Pilot. But if you're not running Safe Pilot, this is a good meta to run Safe Pilot in because obviously it's a good answer to sappers as well. Even though, so with sappers, if they use Smoke Bomb and you have Safe Pilot, it's an even gold trade, and then you keep your Safe Pilot on the field, so technically net positive to you. Right, so we have another Hogger that comes out. This is generally the best answer to Hogger that we've got. The thing that people forget, Old Murk-Eye deals a lot of damage. He's not got a lot of HP, but he deals a lot of damage. Now, in this situation, I'm just going to stealth these guys past these Murloc Tidehunters. We're going to go try and see what else he's got. Obviously, immediately, we're going to get Safe Piloted, which is a good response by him. We're now just waiting for our next option. We're actually going to go straight up and use the Dark-Eye Miner. Not only does that deny his Cobalt of Gold, kind of makes this like an even trade overall. We will have our Dark-Eye Miner on the field, which can be quite useful. Old Murk-Eye comes down again. I've just seen Hogger. I've just seen Safe Pilot get used. Feel pretty confident that I could potentially go for a pretty nice sapper play here, but he does go, obviously, for again, another polymorph play. So now polymorph's out, but obviously we might see another Safe Pilot come into play. So now it's kind of just a case of we know there's polymorph, we know there's Safe Pilot. It's about choosing our moment with this deck now. It's kind of like, okay, where can we get away with using sappers? What do we need to see to be able to use sappers in this particular instance? We're still winning, don't get me wrong, we're still winning. Like, it's not like we're losing in this situation. He's just this is where I was like what? 1 second. I've just moved everything around. This is where I was like, what on earth has just happened here? He just for just a Quillbore polymorphed my Old Murk-Eye and then used Safe Pilot on my Old Murk-Eye. Those are both of his answers to sappers. And do you know what I'm going to do in this situation? It's sapper time. Straight up. Going to go straight up. And I did make a mistake here. So here's the mistake. I stealth bombed just a little bit too late. I thought that would be enough to kill them regardless. But, you know, we're like a couple of Chain Lightnings away from winning, or just like a good push. So we're in a really, really strong position here. Obviously, we're playing versus a Hogger deck. So the longer we leave this, the harder it's going to become for us. Hogger levels up really nicely during his Resolve meta. We're going to send a big threat of Old Murk-Eye, and we're going to split our sappers here. The reason we're going to split our sappers is one sapper is enough to take out a side tower. So we're actually going to take out this tower by itself with a sapper here. We're going to stealth bomb these guys. They get polymorphed, but it doesn't matter because we have a threat coming from the other side, and we just Chain Lightning for the win. So pretty good win there, and a good example of how this deck's played. So I had quite a lot of games. Oh god, I forgot to move. Wait a second. There's me looking very concentrated. Here's me talking. Can I look concentrated? Oh my god, what is that? Anyway, so had a lot of games versus low level players as I was climbing. Like the 3 to 4K range is kind of like level 7 to level 8 territory. So I kind of had to get through that before I could start fighting some good people. And this guy is a 20K player, Salty Fish. He's already at 20K. So he's obviously testing stuff out. So he's playing Sneed. Sneed's an interesting choice in this meta. I think Gadgetzan's a good map for Sneed. There's lots of opportunities to get gold. But the problem is Sneed's just garbage versus Dragon Towers. So you don't really have a good threat to level up because he'll just die versus Dragon Towers. So we are going to get going. Is there I think there's a world where you could play Sneed plus Dragon's Breath and you give Sneed resistant versus Dragon Towers, and then he might be able to like just slap them for a load of damage. But that's kind of a weird deck that requires a lot of work to get there. I'm not really sure it's going to work. Anyway, let's just jump into it. So this is another level that's actually quite good for Old Murk-Eye. None of the levels are bad for Old Murk-Eye. And this is me running when I was running Prowler rather than Dark-Eye Miner. Works okay on this map because you can kind of control the gold mines a lot more easily. I just randomly smoke bombed to kind of... Essentially at this point I was like looking for... ways to cycle out to Old Murk-Eye, which I did. Now, he's also running sappers, by the way. So he split his sappers, which I was a little bit late to. And I wasn't running Storm's Reach on this particular deck as well. I was a mistake. I should have been running Storm's Reach. But we killed one of the sappers. Because obviously, if you split your sappers in this scenario, he's going to stealth bomb them. He's going to then use Deep Breath, but he doesn't actually catch everything. And we're going to go and stealth bomb our own sappers as well. He will zap. He's trying to really go for this side tower, but we should be able to take that back relatively easily. Sneed is quite weak to Old Murk-Eye, so I feel pretty confident that we can kind of take that tower back with relative ease. And you see, and also Sneed just gets absolutely blasted by Dragon Towers. He's really not very good in that sense. So we've got another, like, little sapper coming. He didn't actually stealth bomb it. He used a couple of Defiance Bandits instead, but we actually end up taking our own tower back here. We're going to switch to try and protect our miner as we go for this gold, because obviously there's a load of gold in the middle that we haven't done anything about. So looking for another opportunity here. We're just going to zap to stop that one from going down. And then we have a chest, which we haven't taken for some reason, but we will do in just a moment. I really foolishly used sappers for no apparent reason in front of the Sneed. I thought I was actually going to get away with that, but I didn't. We prepared our Old Murk-Eye to retake our tower because there was no real way to stop that sapper. We just prepared our Old Murk-Eye. He hasn't actually gone for the gold either, so I've managed to get a load of free gold, which with an Old Murk-Eye deck is very important. Like getting just a random amount of free gold is very important to Old Murk-Eye. But we're cycling quite nicely now. We're actually going to use our stealth bomb just to make sure we can retake this tower. And at this point, he's like boxed in. There's not much he can do. This is the problem with Gadget Zan, is it's very difficult to recover if you ever get to this position. Losing all of your towers basically means the opponent can attack from either side. Here, I'm just going to zap, because, we do have Storm's Reach. So the Storm's Reach actually ended up working out quite nicely there. Took down pretty much everything that he spawned. He's running Vultures as well. I'm assuming he does this to cycle out to Sneed. And then, yeah, he's got like a Sneed at level 13, which is same level as my Old Murk-Eye, but that kind of shows you how slow Old Murk-Eye is in general. When it comes to like cycling in Heroes Resolve meta, but pretty quick, pretty easy. We play him again on Alterac Valley here, so we're going to show you again on Alterac Valley. This is actually, in my opinion, an even better map. Obviously, it's not too bad for Sneed if you can get him onto the chests, but overall, it's much more telegraphed what your oh god, that was terrible from me. It's much more telegraphed what your Goblin Sappers are going to do. So you kind of like your Goblin Sappers will be much easier to deal with, because they're only either going to go down the center or they're going to go down the other lane towards. So here's where Storm's Reach works really well. Storm's Reach was just fantastic there. Basically, stop that split tactic of the sappers. And I'm not even going to bother splitting. So what I've done here, and I'm just going to show you, this is why I like this. This is why I like Alterac Valley especially. We have threat going this way or over the bridge. We have threat going down the bridge, and we have threat coming here. Unless you deep breath perfectly across the bridge at the right time, and not everybody has access to deep breath, you're not going to get everything. Blizzard's not going to cover everything. Chain Lightning's not going to cover everything. There's always going to be threats left on the map in this situation. So we end up just going here. There's the deep breath. It wasn't timed as well as it could have been, and we actually do land our biggest threat, which is obviously going to be the Goblin Sappers. Also, as you're seeing, the reason why I included Dark Eye Miner in the future versions is there's just so much gold left on the map, and versus like strong control players like Baron just controls the map really well. You're just never going to get a look at the gold. Now he ends up winning because he knows he's kind of not got an opportunity to win from this point onwards. But this is why I think Alterac Valley is one of my favorite maps for this deck. It's just really good in that sense. So this is the first game that I ended up playing with Dark Eye Miner, because I played a couple of games where I realized that without Dark Eye Miner, things became a bit of a problem. I'm going to go back just ever so slightly, because you're going to see why Chain Lightning with Storm's Reach is quite useful. It actually wouldn't have mattered. I think it would have caught everything there anyway. But obviously there was an attempted split map, and they always run closest to the wall. Yes, my darling. They always run closest to the wall. You're getting water all over my keyboard, monkey noodle. They always run closest to the wall.
Hey!
Now, I know, but I don't want you getting water all over my keyboard. You're a little monkey.
Daddy.
Yes.
I want the car.
Everyone says that Arthur looks exactly like me. What do you guys think?
Go away, Daddy.
Go away, Daddy. Okay. Sorry, guys. If you've ever wondered why I don't live stream much, this is why. Okay, so yeah. Again, like what we're trying to do here is obviously just use our split pressure, especially if there's a Chalga who won't offer many options in terms of answers. What we're trying to do here is just trying to split the pressure. So we're trying to have our Murk-Eye bubble draw as many resources as physically possible from our sappers being a problem. And what I'm going to do here is I've got Murk-Eye going down this side. I'm going to send the sappers straight to this side. So now we've got the sappers that have taken this tower, and we've now got Murk-Eye pushing down the other side. Now, obviously, he retakes them immediately, which is perfectly fine. We are going to respond with Old Murk-Eye and a Quillbore. He's obviously spent a lot of resources to get very little value on the map. And so what we're going to do is just like, as I can see here, just make sure that we're pressuring out, keeping stuff going. And he hasn't actually done anything to stop me retaking his side tower. And in this situation, you know, we're in a really good spot now. We're just pressuring both lanes, and this is what this deck is designed to do. This deck is designed to pressure multiple lanes at the same time, so that if your opponent does have answers to sappers or does have answers to Old Murk-Eye, and that's the reason these things to kind of complement each other. You know, I've got Old Murk-Eye now pushing down this side, the sappers pushing down this side. He's obviously given up since he can't retake his own tower, and that's fine. We'll try and do one more. This wasn't a great example because it was level 8. This was, yeah, it was a tough game. We ended up playing really badly. I think we lost. Yeah, we did lose. He was just blizzarding every time I went to use Old Murk-Eye. So this is interesting because that was a level 8 Baron, but it was a really well played level 8 Baron. This is again not a great example. Here we go. We're versus a Sneed. I really don't like to show Sneeds either because, again, I don't think Sneed's a particularly strong deck. So we're going to cycle through this one. That was a victory. This was a really good game. Okay. This is versus a Jaina. Jaina is probably a very decent counter to this deck because she's generally going to run a lot of spells that clear the map very easily. So in this situation, he just chooses Deep Breath immediately. So in that situation, I'm like, all right, Deep Breath's been used. What other options has she got? And right here, we're going to use sappers. We're going to use our smoke. So you can see Deep Breath, Chain Lightning, lots of really good answers to this in general. Now we're going to pop a couple of things here. Going to make sure we split our focus. We will use our Quillbore. This is the reason we use Quillbore. It's just very good, useful for Old Murk-Eye. Now, obviously, he will Deep Breath. So we've seen another kind of, I guess, answer go through here. We are going to send our sappers down another way this time around because there's a Griffin Rider over on the right-hand side. He's going to immediately Chain Lightning them. That's fine for me because if I use sappers and I don't use Smoke Bomb, it's an equivalent trade. Basically, not a bad situation to be in. So we get an Execute here. So this is not looking good at the start, right? We've lost a side tower. He Execute knocks away my Old Murk-Eye, which is not a good look. As you can see here, a little bit of a mistake from his part. I don't think that was a very effective, especially because he's not running poison, not a particularly effective use. Now, I don't actually even manage to get my sappers off there, but he does actually use Chain Lightning anyway, so we both kind of F up in that situation. I F'd up and then he F'd up at the same time. Still worked out net positive for him. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm just going to split my forces a little bit. I want things to be threatening on all sides. So we're going to send stuff at this side tower, which is going to retake it. We're going to put Old Murk-Eye pressuring with my sappers over on the left-hand side tower, which does actually get taken down. That's an interesting note there. If the Dragon Tower is in the middle of its attack animation, it's already attacking something in range, you may find that you end up in that situation that I just ended up in, which was that my sappers get killed as they are flying towards the enemy. So yeah, not a brilliant situation to be in realistically. We're going to Old Murk-Eye here because I know that my bloody Murlocs are going to lose to the chickens because we really want to make sure that we don't lose that gold. And again, we are just going to keep pressuring. I've just seen him use the Jaina. So we've got quite a lot of options. He's going to Deep Breath those things away. So we are struggling at this point, but we're not he's not actually hitting the base that much. And that's something that should be made aware of. He's not actually hitting my base very much. The Deep Breaths that he's using are a little bit awkward because he's in a situation where he's having to Deep Breath things that aren't also adjacent to my base. Love also Old Murk-Eye in this situation because it just means that we kill off the Jaina without having to worry about getting through the Harvest Golem. So Harvest Golem is not a great answer here because obviously in this situation, like Jaina generally tends to hide behind single target threats from the Harvest Golem. Not that big of a deal for me. He's going to deep breath my sappers away, and that's perfectly okay because that now means that he's not got a great option for... Oh, I messed up my Dark Eye Miner. He hasn't got a great option for actually stopping my Old Murk-Eye running through. And one of the things that's also worth noting is that my Old Murk-Eye is now level 14, so he's pretty beefy and also deals a lot of damage. Now he's got... This is the exact thing that I love about this deck, right? This is the situation that you want to find yourself in. This and worrying about your HP, or this and you just lose your entire tower. So this is the perfect situation for the Old Murk-Eye deck to be in. So he's lost that side tower now. I'm going to immediately reinforce my efforts on that side tower by dropping an Old Murk-Eye, sending it directly towards that side tower, and also sending as many Murlocs and also Quillboars as I can. I don't want him to kind of get away with that tower for free. I'd like him to kind of have to like fight for it. And in this situation, he deep breaths it, and that now means that I'm in a situation where I don't need to worry about sending sappers the wrong way entirely. Never mind, he kind of made up for it. He actually just chain lightning them regardless. Wouldn't have done that in another situation, but here we go. So I'm actually gonna use my Dark Eye Miner in that situation just to go behind and stop the Jaina from obviously stop the Jaina from actually doing anything there. We're going to keep sending Old Murk-Eyes. Like, we are just threatening on every area of the map that we can. He's obviously trying to cycle executes and cycle deep breaths, but he can't stop my Old Murk-Eye from getting onto his base and ending up winning. And that was a situation where it looked pretty dire for us at the beginning, but we actually ended up coming back really nicely. So this deck's got a lot of depth to it in terms of how you play. I'm still not playing it perfectly. I lost quite a lot of games versus lower level opponents that I shouldn't have lost. It is what it is. Right, that is it for this this video. That's a lot of games. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.